Well, here we go. Pick ban for game number 3. Would expect similar from the side of BBQ. There was heavy targeting towards Scepted. They were able to ban Orianna in game number 1 and not give that playmaker over to Scepted.
Yeah, they gave Zach away, which was a mistake. I think we can all agree to that. However, Zach wasn't such a contributing factor to the defeat of Ever. There are many other outside factors, such as a tower dive, the Lucian top that didn't get a whole lot, the map split play that ended up being abandoned only at about 3 minutes into the game. So the game plan was truly the issue with Ever's idea. However, the draft itself, we can question it a little bit further, as it's a meta that only SKT has really been able to pull off against BBQ themselves, and it's also something that nobody else in the world plays. So you can question, why does nobody else do this? Oh, right, this is why.
Well, this time we aren't going to see Zach in the game. Ever8 deciding to ban that out second. And BBQ trying to decide how can we make it so we get either Caitlyn or Elise. We'll ban out the Rakan away from comeback.
The Rakan combination with Kalista is what worked for them last time around. It was cool to watch. Not as exciting, in my opinion, as Sangyun's and Keys, as that botched engage into the bottom lane. I doubt would have happened if it were in their hands. However, it still netted some significant plays on their side. The one that comes to mind is that final one around mid lane with Renekton and Rakan going onto the Twitch with a double shockwave, but banning Caitlyn gives over Elise to Bless, and we have seen what happens so many times when you let Elise go through, considering how important Renekton has been in this series. And Ever will have to either take a Renekton early or deal with the consequences of Gnar into this matchup, which can be exploited just as easily because of mini Gnar.
Well, they're deciding to pick up the Thresh early on. They want to take this for comeback, it seems. I don't think anyone really wants to see him on the Alistar again. Give him another shot on something else.
Well, just imagine how dangerous it would have been if you actually did not take these 2 picks in this rotation and you let BBQ have Thresh and Renekton. We've seen what KT can do with these picks. They decimated SKT and many other teams with these 3, so wise of them to take them away, as teams in the bottom of the standings typically look to the top of the table to gather strategies that work against other teams to say, let's just add this to our playbook, see if it works for us, and maybe scrape by with some wins.
Well, BBQ looking to get some response picks here. Going to pick up the Braum as their support. Not looking to take their top, and with Talia still available, definitely one of these hotly contested picks. Has been banned out a bunch by Ever8 so far, and Tempt will get his hands on it tonight.
Scepted thinking about the Cassio. He has played this matchup before and even acquired solo kills. Cassidy is still available, but I don't think that's as risky as these teams want to play tonight. So they go with the Cassiopeia, just play it safe. And now there's plenty of utility left in the AD carry pool. You've got Ashe, you've got Varus, you've got even Jhin if you desire. So the AD carry pool isn't so contested this time around. And then when you have junglers available, you've got yourself a possibility of rounding out a solid draft from Ever, while BBQ have to add tools to snowball quickly. With Braum and Elise, a powerful support jungle duo, you need AD carries that can lane by themselves safely, you need AD carries that can synergize well in setting those plays up, and a top laner that can deal with Renekton, which is likely going to be that Gnar.
See if Ever8 decide to take that away. They do have one more ban left over, and still targets on the Lee Sin towards Malrang, even though he decided to move away from that Lee Sin in favor of the Gragas in game number 2. Very curious to see what Ever8's last ban will be. It's going to be Jace. Thinking that perhaps Crazy, as he has shown Jace before, would favor the Jace against Renekton matchup instead.
Khan in an interview did mention that he thinks that he can beat anybody and any champion with Jace. Or maybe not anybody, but any champion with the Jace in his hands. And if the junglers are not involved, he certainly can do that. And that combination with Elise can kill Renekton like you're hunting for alligators in Florida. So wisely so, does it get banned. And now, what are they thinking for here? I think Ashe or Varus. Oh. Okay. All right. That's a different flavor.
Hopefully we get some Pugmaw.
No, why?
I love that skin. It's like the cutest skin in the game.
That is not a cute animal or a skin.
It's a pug.
How is that? It's
are you a dog hater?
A pug
Crumbs?
is literally man's testament to genetic modification, to having a dog. Its eyes are further outside of its body than in.
Yeah, it's very cute.
You and I have
don't make fun of
different
pugs.
opinions of cuteness.
Camille, not very cute, but I suppose a cute pick against the Renekton? I'm not really sure how that works.
Can lane fine. It does have the matchup of Elise to help it out. It just has to play it safe, scale up, and yeah, there's that Varus. Better than Ashe in this matchup, as you can farm at a distance much more effectively than an Ashe if she's left by herself. Chains of Corruption are also better in disengaging from anybody else, so I like the draft so far from BBQ, but they are going to be looking to play a 1-3-1 style with Camille and Talia, so they are going to have to get ahead early, so much of this is going to be onto Bless, whereas Ever do have the fail-safe of Cassiopeia and Kog'Maw into that late game, as well as the Lantern from Comeback to get anybody out of a sticky situation, considering that Wall can be just that situation.
Malrang deciding to go for the Rek'Sai instead of the Gragas that was available. Even with the Kog'Maw, deciding to go with more damage from the jungle instead of that tanky kind of engage type champion. And I mean, when you do have Elise, Talia, Varus, definitely a bunch of squishy targets that you can try to get that Void Rush onto.
Well, he had a good game, and when you're at this stage, the 1-8 for both of these teams, a lot of it revolves around the coaching staff and the players. The coaching staff needs to remind the players that they still have trust in them. And if Malrang had a 4-0-9 game on Gragas, a champion that he had not played before, and he tells you, give me Rek'Sai, I can do this in Rek'Sai. As a coach, you are in a position where you have to respect that and say, you know what, I trust in your ability to feel for what you're feeling tonight. Let's put you on Rek'Sai. And while it might change the composition and not have as much synergy as you think with Cassiopeia and Kog'Maw, it does cater to the player that had a stand-up performance in your previous game and would solidify you as a team moving forward. And it is going to be damn Kog'Maw.
Yeah. Crumbs with the spoiler. But yeah, will be that Pugmaw. Thank you, Duel. Yeah, Malrang definitely has some nice gank potential on that Rek'Sai. Interested to see what he can do on this pick. Coming into game number 3, we're going to get a look at these skins. And there it is.
I don't even know what your taste, where your taste lies at anymore.
Look at how cute it is. It's drooling.
Look at its teeth. How is that cute? Drooling is cute? You just said drooling is cute.
Yeah, it is. Well, let's see exactly how cute it is. Let's jump on the riff for game 3. See, even the observer's on my side.
Is he?
The zoom in onto Pugmaw.
Maybe he's looking at it for scientific purposes to make sure it never happens again.
Just studying it from afar. Too scared to get closer.
I think Monarch Kog'Maw is actually cuter.
Monarch Kog'Maw.
Yeah, he's a butterfly.
Oh, that what?
Yeah.
How is that cute? It's a butterfly.
At least, at least it accepts that it's not a freak of nature.
That's true.
It's just a void monster with wings.
It's a monster. Butterflies, they're pretty, you know? They're not exactly cute. I don't go awe when I see a butterfly.
You just haven't seen good butterflies. Stuck playing Pokemon. All you have is Butterfree and that moth.
Well, yeah, that's not really a butterfly.
Here's that cute drool doing so much damage to the blue buff.
Seems like Malrong's going to go for Gromp into potentially Wolves. Rek'Sai with some fast clear times. Some of the fastest.
In terms of micro, he actually ended up using his Prey Seeker before the Gromp camp spawn, so he missed out on a tiny bit of damage. Unlikely to make a significant difference, but doing that multiple times does add up to a slower clear. Meanwhile, Elise just going for the fastest route, going for Wolves into blue buff, and we might see her go for an invade here. Malrang, if he chooses to go for Raptor camp, he might find himself being invaded by an Elise, so wisely does he go for red buff. In the second that he sees Malrang going for red buff, at least for Bless, he decides to go for the Scuttlecraft.
He still could be annoying here. You see Malrang taking a lot of damage from there. And the Cocoon is actually going to go onto the red buff, and Bless not able to, actually does steal that away, coming over on the repel, going for Malrang, but there's the knockup. Has he gone too far? He has! First blood to Malrang on Rek'Sai.
Welcome to the new Rek'Sai. She does so much damage this time around, and what seemed like an outplay ends up Bless outplaying himself. Commits to not just getting the flash, ends up getting knocked up, and the double buffs end up going to Malrang. So a nice little refresh for him, even though it doesn't have too much of an influence. The importance is going to be in his first purchase, which is a double longsword. And here it goes. So he sees him going for it. Oh, okay, this is a good opportunity. So the Cocoon, not a wise use of it this time around, but that's a full rage Rek'Sai. So he gets some HP back, draws him in, and just a easy as butter knockup. Goes for a quick Umbara right at the end.
Easy as what?
As butter. Butter's easy.
Oh.
I think pie. Some people say pie.
Yeah.
Or cake.
Easy as cake.
It's all things
Easy
you
as
find in the
pie.
pantry.
Oh, he gets the Unburrow on Tempt.
God.
And, I mean, he does have both of his summoners, but Bless coming in here makes things interesting. Lands that Cocoon. Where's the burst? There it is, but another knockup, and this time it will be Tempt taking the double buff.
It's like we're watching the Salvation Army in order as everybody just gets blue buffs donated to everybody. And now that's Talia with double buffs and no summoners burned.
Yeah, Tempt's going to be having a
He doesn't
a
have
ball.
mana. What are you doing here? He doesn't have enough mana for Cocoon.
They're really just trying to zone him out, I suppose. And he is getting close. But after all, is that really worth it? Probably not. Hook here onto Braum. Breakable comes up. The big play onto Ghost. It barks. How is that not cool? Or cute, rather.
Barking's cute now?
Yeah.
What about when
You've never owned a dog, have you?
What about when I've been around plenty of dogs. What about when the Chihuahua barks at you 24/7?
That's not cute.
Is that
no?
Only pugs?
There's a difference.
I've made very long-lasting friendships with dogs, but I just think that the Pugmaw skin is a mistake. It's a biological error.
The Void monster and making it into something adorable.
Why couldn't it have been? I can't even think about anything else.
Catmaw.
Well, I mean, Pugmaw is a good name. I will give it that. I think Pugmaw is a highly creative name. I like.
It's definitely better than Dogmaw.
I like the play on words for sure.
Yeah. I'm sure they were thinking of names and they were like, how about Dogmaw? Everybody was like, oh, that's, I mean, it makes sense, you know? It's like Cogmaw, but it's Dogmaw, but then they decide for Pugmaw. I think it's definitely cooler.
I think Dogma can be easily misunderstood for something else,
Yeah.
but see, my issue with the skins is that I value skins for how far they differentiate themselves from the original skin and what kind of effort was put into it. Effort to me is where I value so much of quality in. When I see Pugmaw,
it's so different from all the other skins of Cogmaw. Okay, well, crazy. He was going in. I thought he was about to get crazy. Malrang's hanging around, and you can see Bless. He's going for his red buff side.
late on the Tremor Sense, not going to find anybody. Unlikely for him to actually be able to take down Crazy. However, new Rek'Sai deals so much damage that we have seen level 2 levels down on the Rek'Sai being able to mutilate people, 2 to even 3 levels above them. So who knows at this stage, as her DPS is through the roof, and at this stage she might even receive even more buffs because people just want to see her join the meta.
Crazy gonna let this one push. He was under turret for a while, and it doesn't really seem like they've had a good read on where Malron has been. So just wants to be careful. Although there are some pings going in there as they do see Cassiopeia going in to take her blue buff now. So now they should have a good idea of where he is.
Look at Comeback making moves to the top side. They've left Kog'Maw alone. There are question mark pings going onto the bottom side of the map while Temp pushes top, possibly eyeing a dive onto the top side of the map. Comeback still hasn't been spotted. And here it gets spotted, which does push Kog'Maw even further back. But because it's so well timed with the bot lane recall of Ghost and Totoro, Kog'Maw doesn't miss out on anything. So a roam is able to clear out a ward and potentially drive off a gank onto the Renekton with no cost.
Yeah. After all, Comeback will go down there. Kog'Maw now level 6.
Note how crazy he's last hitting right now. Incredibly slow. It's a different change from how he was doing it before. He's pushing a little bit faster as the dual lane approaches. He probably should have slowed it down a bit further to make sure that it doesn't hit the turret whatsoever. So they've decided to go on this wave to try to zone out Renekton. Brahmin, Elise still have not shown, but because Elise made it so apparent, I think everybody knows. The dual lane is coming topside, and we might see some action.
Yeah, you can see even Malron coming through the jungle, straight beeline up into the top lane. They're looking to fight here, but you can see this Rek'Sai just a little bit late. That's a lot of damage being done. The red buff. Cocoon is going to land. Big knock-up onto Comeback, but they're using everything onto him. It looks like he will survive, and Bless and Toto are getting extremely low, but here comes Temp, the first to open the fight. Ahead of this Cassiopeia, of course, and they do take out the Rek'Sai. Temp still poking here, and it looks like they should be able to take out this top turret.
Fighting head-on against champions that want you to fight head-on, both Varus and Elise, as well as the Braum, making it so simple for them to play a fight. You don't need any communication to know exactly how to play these battles out. Chains of Corruption comes out, the stun, the Braum Glacial Fissure, it all just was too easy, and as such, they get kill and a top lane turret. That first brick on a great swap from BBQ ends up in now a 2,000 gold lead out of seemingly thin air.
Yeah, definitely a nice play there by BBQ, trying to get things rolling here with the composition that they have.
Ever8, but they go for this engage, and look how far away Rek'Sai and Kog'Maw are. There's no chance this engage goes through. Talia can always collapse faster than Cassiopeia, so you have to remember that when you go for these plays. So Comeback going for an ill-advised engage ends up costing them dearly, and now they find themselves with a composition that wants to go late game. They're not even in the early game.
Yeah, they got to be careful not to get too far behind. And this Mountain Drake, a huge Drake for BBQ. They want to end this game soon. As soon as possible. Mountain Drake, arguably the best Drake to do exactly that. And they'll be eyeing that Rift Herald afterwards. Going to start here.
Look at Ghost's build. He's got a BF sword right now, and it could be an Infinity Edge, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's going to be an Essence Reaver coming out of him. So a bit of a throwback there on the Varus build. Normally we see the Blade of the Ruined King come out early, but because of the champions that Ever has this time around, realistically, if he's in range of going for any auto attacks, he's not going to be able to trade blow for blow against Cassiopeia or Kog'Maw. So in my opinion, it's an intelligent choice of itemization based on the opponents that he's up against.
Always refreshing to see these guys responding in a nice manner. Some people, you know, on solo queue, they just go ahead and make the same 6 items every game. Doesn't really make sense. But looking for a play down here in the bottom lane is Bless. Seems like Duel and Comeback are playing extremely passively. And Weaver's Wall looks like it's about to come off cooldown, but Temp's not rotating just yet. Malrong waiting in the wings. Doesn't look like anything will come of it. But here we go. They're looking for a play up and top right when that wall comes off cooldown. Looking for Keen, and there is going to be that Hextech ultimatum into the follow-up from Tempt. Flashing the wall even, really wanting to get out of there. Will trade flash for flash, but Tempt picks up another kill.
Picking on Renekton this time around, it's a wise strategy, always going for the rookies. LCK is one of the most notorious regions for picking on any newcomers, and they do just that. Game 1, it was against the Lucian. Game 2, it did go Ever's way, so they never had that opportunity. But this time around, with the swap, make sure that Renekton doesn't have an easy time in the laning phase. Force your rookie to communicate in ways that he might not be used to before under high-pressure situations where the split seconds matter. Now, with Taliyah on their side, it becomes that much harder for you to play Renekton now that you've fallen far behind. Camille, once she hits that Trinity Force and Renekton doesn't even have his cleaver, he's not going to have an easy time laning into this.
Yeah, and it's another reason why this Taliyah is so hotly contested in LCK. I mean, you can push. Obviously, the Cassiopeia can push back, but doesn't have nearly the global presence that this Taliyah does early on. And Tempt, I mean, the second the Weaver's Wall comes off cooldown, he's looking for a play, and they make it work.
And you know that top lane has been marked again. Now that Renekton does not have flash, it becomes an easy return kill. With the Hextech ultimatum and Weaver's Wall, you can close the gap from almost a screen away between both characters, and Renekton is just not safe for him anymore.
Yeah, you can't really push all that far. He's going to throw down a ward for now. We'll see if he pushes another wave.
Poor Pogma gets a Gromp stolen, no food for him.
He'll have to feed off the minions. Like the normal dog. No fancy feast down there in the bottom lane.
It is a plus 86, so definitely was a fancy feast.
Ooh, gets the knockback here.
Also, an underrated ability of Taliyah is that she's actually surprisingly difficult to gank. Her spamming ability in lane makes the wave clear easy and safe, as well as her range, so you often get harassed if you try to get in the way of it, unlike some other characters. And she can always just hug the walls, which increases her movement speed, as we all know, and makes her even tougher to gank. If you ever try ganking a Taliyah that is playing wisely, you'd soon understand why this champion is so hotly contested and oftentimes sees plenty of success.
Yeah, and the good Taliyah will always be there with the seismic shove. You have to be so careful with how you engage onto her. You also know that if the gank takes any more than a second or two to really collapse onto her, you're going to be eating a lot of rocks to the face. So you got to make it happen and quickly. Starting off with that Raleigh Scepter, trying to make sure that she can follow up with seismic shove if she makes any kind of damage onto any of her opponents.
And you bring up the Rylai's point, and I think it's similar to what Ghost is doing here. Normally you'd see the Morellonomicon coming out, but with the Rylai's, when you're dealing with Kog'Maw and Cassiopeia, which are going to be the main damage threats, as well as Renekton and Rek'Sai, which want to run at you in a straight line, it becomes an easy itemization to kite them, keep them at a distance, and make sure that not only do you not get dove, but you keep any potential long-range backline threats at a distance.
Yeah, and also you can spike pretty quickly on it. Rylai's not all that expensive. Just get it really, really fast. Has that potential to slow from very early on in the game.
However, I think he's still eyeing out that Morellonomicon though, with that mana crystal. It would make sense considering that Kog'Maw, Cassiopeia, Rek'Sai, and Renekton all have ways of healing themselves.
It's been the slow push here from BBQ. They do take out the mid-tier 1 to grab their second turret of the game with the Rift Herald. So all the big objectives going over to them so far, but still only 16 minutes in.
Actually, it's a static Shiv out of Ghost. So safe wave clear. Better than Hurricane for wave clearing against long range. But now I'm starting to think that the BF sword is actually going to be the Infinity Edge.
Yeah, more of a standard build here from Ghost. It's been all about pushing these turrets with that static shiv nowadays. And speaking of that, he's down here as Septed is going to be a little bit late. That bottom tier 1 getting very, very low.
Once they get that tier 1 down, I think we can stop seeing the lull in this mid game and might end up going towards a 1-3-1 with Braum and Varus in the mid lane. However, they're not confident enough to try to take down this Cassiopeia, and for good reason. With her cleanse, she can easily escape the CC that this dual lane will bring, and fighting back on her own would be a disaster if it goes wrong for BBQ. So all they want is a turret this time around, but because Elise isn't there, they can't fully commit.
Just got an example of Ghost sweep clear with the static shiv and the piercing arrow. Basically clears it in about 3 or 4 shots. Oh, looking for the hook. Bless says, no, that's mine. And with this control that they have, there's no other big objective outside of the bottom tier 1. So while the waves aren't there, they'll just stop by, pick up an ocean drink. Why not? Do have the Weaver's Wall if anyone on Ever8 once was thinking about getting close. I'm sure they weren't.
And nobody even wants to get close to the Camille. She's now taking red buff and is going to be swapping out to the bottom side. Talia is also in in her vicinity, so they might be eyeing going to Cassiopeia. Look at the vision they have on bot side River. Triple control, double greens. If Septed steps up, the Weaver's Wall could be it. Oh, he's so... Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, Septed looking for this kill, but is going to be collapsed on immediately. Crazy is going to land that stun with the Hextech Ultimatum, dodging out there. And that is going to be the 3-man onto Septed, and another turret going to BBQ.
And it was close. It was a cute attempt from him to try to take down Crazy before the gank was set in motion. However, might have had a better opportunity to trade summoners or even trade a kill back had he just committed to going for as much damage as possible as opposed to considering a retreat.
We'll see what the next move here is for BBQ. Crazy is still in bot lane, and he has double buff after taking that kill, taking the blue away from Septed, and he's going to get this tier 2. There was just no response. In comes Pugball. Does a lot of damage, but Crazy can get away with the mobility of Camille. And things are about to get really interesting with tier 2 down in bot lane and Baron about to spawn.
Ever is just one step behind. Renekton was topside when the swap came out from BBQ. That's why Cassiopeia felt safe going for that 1v1, even though she had no vision and it was not a right time for her to go for that engage. Gets punished right away, and while it should have just been a kill and a tower, it turns out into another one. Gets a summoner out of her to cleanse that. It's unlikely to be punished right now, but it does mean that she will have to play a bit more respectful in the upcoming minutes.
Duel doing his best. He knows his job. He's just got to eat as much stuff as possible.
Sounds like you've had dogs before.
A really fat Pugmaw. Getting fattened up for the harvest.
Would you think it's cute if it was super fat?
I'm not the biggest fan of ultra fat dogs. Oh, wow. Keen even forced a flash, but Hextech Ultimatum, you can't get out of that. Sorry, buddy. Not the best first day debut we've ever seen here in LCK.
Welcome to Talia, powerful pick that makes your side lanes even more powerful. It's like dealing with Twisted Fate. You just can never play the side lanes effectively, and when you combine it with Camille, who guarantees you staying in one place, means that every time if the items are there, you're going to die.
Good read there from Bless, saying, hey, something doesn't feel right. And now that Renekton is still down, this turret's going to take a bunch of damage. Keen just respawning now. And good respect there out of Crazy. Doesn't have his ultimate at this point in time. Not going to overstay his welcome.
But those bases tell us exactly what BBQ is going to try to do next. Look at the items that they have on their inventory. 5 control wards, and both Elise and Braum have double control wards, which means that if they prepare around Baron, get full control of Baron vision, and allow Camille to hit the turret, Ever is going to be forced with the catch-22 of do you go for Renekton or do you go for the Baron? Both choices can lead to disaster, and without vision, it's unlikely that they make a choice that doesn't result in any casualties.
Tons vision in the red side here for BBQ. You can see Ever8 is doing their best, come back basically just on vision duty. And Tempt all alone might be unburrowed on here. Is forced to flash away from that one.
But even a gank like that has an opportunity cost, which means that now BBQ get to go a little bit into the jungle, get some cleared out vision, but you're dealing with Rek'Sai. Prey Seeker is a short cooldown that can always scout out your Baron attempts. So they're going to need to push this vision line and control of mid lane much deeper if they want to make a move like that.
I like that Ghost not clearing out the ward. Didn't want to give up his position. Was looking for that chain of corruption. And as you were saying, they're really pushing the vision now. I think they've realized very fast what they have to do exactly.
It's got to be a bit deeper than this, though. Notice where Thresh just cleared that control ward. Deeper than that. It's a mobile team between Rek'Sai and Thresh. Exactly. As deep as possible. If you could even take vision of the base gates and know that they're not in the jungle, then that would suffice, as you know exactly how much time you have to rush a Baron. Not to say that you should ever go for that kind of vision, but if you can, why not?
Well, they do have one Mountain Drake, which, you know, even just one is kind of scary for the enemy team with how fast they can take Baron. But with another one about to spawn in 30 seconds, definitely could see BBQ, you know, just rotate crazy after pushing the bot wave and into taking that. Maybe bring Bless over there quickly, as BBQ does have control of this map pretty well. And just go for that. And once you have two Mountain Drakes, taking that Baron and rushing it against the Rek'Sai becomes just that much easier.
Well, I think we might see them rush it right now with a TP and Weaver's wall. Rek'Sai's not there.
Okay, that's one way to do it. Scouting that Balrog is not in the vicinity, and there's just going to be no chance unless the Pogmaw.
Oh, wow, that was so close. Smite wasn't used.
That would have been hilarious if Duel just sniped that from downtown. But unfortunately, no.
That's a rush right there, knowing that the Baron got secured not by your Smite, but by your ally right at the end.
Showing no interest in that second Mountain Drake for now. Want to make they want to make this as efficient as possible. This Baron push, get as much damage as literally possible.
Absolutely, you got to crack the base ASAP. Otherwise, Cog and Cassiopeia will scale away. Talia looking for an opportunity into the top side. That's why she just pushes and then hangs back. Doesn't want to expose herself 24/7. The more she's out of vision, the more Renekton has to respect her.
Kind of a dual lane push down here in bot lane. Totoro actually flashes that. Huge respect to the death sentence. And that one rotation down into bot by Ever8 will open up this tier 2 mid. That will be the first turret they take out. You can see Crazy was hanging around mid lane just in case any kind of engage came out from Ever8.
Don't think that flash was completely warranted. You still have Exhaust and the Unbreakable. But there is a chance that Exhaust plays a bigger factor in team fights than a flash on Braum. So the choice is understandable, not wanting to take as much damage as possible. But the result of turrets is still there as they crack down tier 2 top and tier 2 mid. But now they have to think about the base, and the vision that they had before is no longer going to suffice if they want to go for this. Camille will be going to the bottom side of the map, and with a Guardian Angel, she becomes much more capable of threatening tower dives and assisting in a 5v5 if the opportunity presents itself.
Tempting and around, and finally they're going to go for this Mountain Drake. They're going against some decent wave clears, okay wave clear out of Ever8. Got to make sure you have those Mountain Drakes to push them in. And just the 1-1-3, keeping Tempt in the mid lane. He's been really good on this Talia. There was a reason why Ever8 was consistently banning this out against him.
So what Ever needs right now is as much vision as possible, obviously, to deter this push. So they've cleared out they have a ward in the background. That's what they're going for, a teleport, even though teleport's not up. But they just need to wait out the Baron. Right now, they're not strong enough. Kog'Maw did go with the QSS.
He did it. The cardinal sin of all 80 carries.
Not all the time, not all the time. But what?
Every time, Crumbs.
Here's the Weaver's Wall.
That's going to knock back both Septed and Comeback. Thankfully, the Lantern will save that poor little puppy. And they're going to be pushing onto this inhibitor. Big knockback on the Comeback, forcing that flash out of him. Meanwhile, Keen, he's down 2 levels in top lane, down probably at least half an item. So, oh, nice blast there. They're looking for Ghost. Can they actually get him? It's pretty close, but not quite enough damage. This Ghost will live, and down goes the top inhibitor.
So what I was thinking that BBQ needed to do is just have numbers even everywhere to allow Taliyah to go to the top side. However, she chooses to go bottom instead, which is just a good play. Finds Thresh, and when you see everybody on the map, you know that you're not going to get surprised. And now they're going on to Septed, and he's surely dead with that. Oh,
he's dead to just Bless and Crazy. Have to respect that, Camille. And that's going to be 3 inhibitors going down. BBQ looking to win for their 2nd time here. Their 2nd time against Ever8 and their 2nd time in LCK Summer.
And only 1 kill away. That first blood was everything that Ever got this time around. This is nearly a perfect game. No turrets, no dragons, no herald, no nexus.
Just 1 kill. And they're looking for better KDA. And actually, they're fighting back here, but it looks like the Nexus will go down. Ghost looking for some more kills, but BBQ does take the 2-1 victory.
Under 30 minutes, they finally got it together. Temp played phenomenally, helping out the side lanes, utilizing Crazy as best as possible. The second that Camille got ahead, there just was no looking back. And Renekton, the rookie, he had a decent performance. I think that we don't know much about this player, and throwing him on the deep end into a team that is already struggling as much as ever, you couldn't ask for much.
I mean, it kind of just struck me as one of those debuts where it's like, okay, he didn't really contribute much, but he didn't die like crazy. You know, he didn't beat his ass off, but he also wasn't, you know, taking over the game.
So would you honor him?
Would I honor him? Yeah, but he stayed calm under the pressure. Give that one to him, I suppose. But I have to say, I don't know if we'll be seeing him or if we'll be seeing Helper going into the the next time that Ever does play here.
Which they actually end up playing against Samsung and KT in their
nice.
2 upcoming matches. So actually followed by Tigers, Longzhu, and SKT. So things are only going to get tougher for them.
Got a lot of big teams coming up.
Literally the top of the table, and Tigers did end up coming off a win against them in a 1-2 fashion, so they've got a tall order to fill.
That max range, Malrang just getting caught out this time around.
It looked so good ever since that first blood, but this engage was just the complete lack of coordination that we were talking about. That's a 2v4 engage with Taliyah capable of collapsing before Cassiopeia. They're not even utilizing the tower to their advantage at this position. Now remember that it was BBQ that initiated this swap, and ever since that point, it all became Taliyah and Camille. Here comes another one where they got that kill. Let's see if he could have gotten the kill here. E. Where are the E's at?
He missed his Q, he missed his poison, so he kind of just gave up after that. And Keen not respecting the Taliyah.
Well, look at the range that he got engaged from. At that point, you just have to wait for the minion to crash at your tower. This is already at the end. We already know what happened. We saw this like 30 seconds ago.
It's just the recap, and here's the result. Will be BBQ with the almost perfect game, giving over an extra kill there right before the Nexus went down.
Elder and Baron being added as stats just to rub in the salt. 0, 0, 0. 4,000 damage on Cassiopeia. I don't think I've ever seen a Cassiopeia do that little damage in the game.
I would have to agree with you on that one. I mean, did less than the Renekton that was trading up top, or almost as much. Pretty low damage on both him and Rek'Sai too, just kind of across the board, but Cassiopeia, not really enough damage out of that pick. And Tempt on the Taliyah, really just owning the Rift for game number 3.
I would not be surprised if he walks away MVP.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one. I think you're 110% correct on that pick, Crumbs.
Well, thanks for your confidence.
Well, guys, we're going to be heading into the interview in just a sec here. And here we do go. Let's throw it over to Ji-sun to help out with the translation.
이게 됐는데요. 오랜만에 승리를 맛본 BBQ 선수를 만나보도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 첫 세트 MVP 크레이지 선수 만나보겠습니다. 안녕하세요. 축하드립니다.
안녕하세요.
정말 오랜만에 승리예요. 누구보다도 기다렸을 텐데.
Okay, it seems the mic isn't working, so we're going to jump on this translation. Said that they tried really hard to practice for this matchup. Very different performance today compared to other matches. Crazy said we wanted to be more bold. We wanted to be more daring, aggressive, because it always feels like we go either just even or we do worse than the enemy. What was it like playing against Keen? Crazy said, felt, you know, he's a rookie, so it felt very easy to play up against him. So now we're going to take a look at who the MVP from game number 3 for BBQ is. It was Tempt. Not the hardest pick there, Crumbs.
Yeah, the Taliyah doing so much work for everybody on the map this time around. You can see him just picking on that rookie once again, and that is the face of Decimation on Taliyah. So often do we see her banned, and for good reason. We finally get to see exactly why.
While since I've won, and a bit a while since I've gotten the MVP, so I'm pretty happy. Crazy's thoughts on Tempt's performance. Crazy was pretty happy because Tempt kept on coming up to the top lane, helping him out. In the top lane, does Crazy feel like it's a top carry meta nowadays? He says, not really. Not really feeling that top carry. Thoughts on the current top lane meta? Crazy says, he says that the champions have very strong points, very strong timings, and they're very different. They're all kind of unique, all those different choices in the meta, so he likes playing them, finds it very entertaining. Tem says, I think we have to practice a lot heading into the rest of the round. Lots of work to do for this team. He feels like he should be more assertive, should be more of a leader, because so far he feels like he's been underperforming. That was Tempt saying that. Crazy saying, we're going to try to make a fresh start for round number 2 in summer. Tempt also saying that he'll work really hard. And that's going to do it for the interview. So I hope you guys did enjoy that. Unfortunately, the mic wasn't working for our normal translator, so the global producer helping me out with that one.
Oh, you did a swell job.
And we're going to jump to the standings here. Both these guys still 9th and 10th.
Well, BBQ is the one that at least has something to offer. As they mentioned, they wanted to go a little bit more bold, more daring. Not sure if they got those descriptions from their sponsors, but they do, and you know, that's a flavor to describe chicken.
That's true.
I told myself I wouldn't make a chicken joke all day, but I did it right at the end.
Tonight I really just want some daring chicken. That's really what I want to have.
But now they are 2 wins into this game, and now they're looking at potentially MVP, who is quite likely to walk away after today with a loss, as the upcoming matchup is MVP 2-7 against SKT 8-1.
Yeah, going to be a pretty rough matchup. They are coming off of a win, finally. They had to go up against, I think it was BBQ.
Yes, they took down
the
BBQ.
other day to finally get that win. So it's good to see some smiles on those guys' faces, but I can't help but feel that they will be shortly wiped off their faces as we go into the next one.
Jesus, I mean,
just
they'll
just
learn
calling it
something.
like it is.
They'll learn something.
It's, yeah, I mean, you can learn.
Yeah.
They're trying to force a game 3 so that they can learn as much as possible. So, guys, looks like we're ready to jump into that commercial break. We'll be back in about a half hour before we do get into SKT versus MVP. So stay tuned. We'll be back.